Okay, good morning. Thanks so much for joining us here at the Network Breakfast. I'm going to take a few minutes here, and we're going to get each of our friends here a chance to say good morning to you all, and they'll tell you 1 minute about themselves, and then we'll head right into Bitcoin. Jeff is anxious to get to it, and we'll talk about Bitcoin. And if you have any questions, our members here just will speak up. And I have a little bit of what Elon Musk and Bill Gates and Janet Yellen had to say about it. So without further ado, we'll say good morning to Chris Walters. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, Chris Walters with See-Through Windows. I provide vinyl replacement windows, both replacement and new construction. I cover a territory from Port Clinton till the Pennsylvania border, Cleveland to Canton. I go out and take a look at each property personally and then send you a quote within 24 hours. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Thanks for being here. Next, we're going to say good morning to Mike Bentley. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning. Life can be a beach, and you can have peace of mind when the things that you love and the people that you love are properly insured. So let me give you a second opinion by contacting Mike Bentley from the Brooks and Stafford Company.
Very good. Thank you, Mike, and thanks for being here. Good morning, Lee. Thank you for being here.
Good morning, Tom. Good morning, Network Breakfast Group. My name is Lee Jackson. I'm currently with Jackson Consulting Services. I'm in transition looking for a full-time position that will leverage my leadership experience in healthcare field, my network connections, especially to help the senior service industry. Recently, I've been doing a lot of work with a home care company and insurance companies and other healthcare systems. I'm looking to make that transition. I'd love to meet with owners, executive teams, leadership of senior service organizations who lead those organizations to success. I'd love to talk about out-of-the-box ideas. I have some. I would love to hear theirs as well. Anything that you can do to move me forward into that and help grow their business, I'm all into. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you. Thanks for being here, Lee. And now we'd like to say good morning to one of our favorites, Harry Bernstein. Good morning, Harry.
Good morning, everybody. Harry Bernstein. I'm an attorney. I work with a lot of families who have kids with special needs, kind of putting all the parts together. We look at what's needed to succeed outside of and after school. This includes going over any estate planning issues, education issues, job placement issues, as well as talking about medical needs if possible. I also do some consulting in the fastest growing industry in the United States right now, the cannabis industry. Virginia just legalized it yesterday, becoming the first state in the South to fully legalize it. There's certainly indications that it might be legalized federally within the next 2 years, and we help companies prepare for that.
Excellent. Thank you, Harry, and thanks for being here. Good morning to Scott Morrison. Good morning, Scott.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Scott Morrison. My company is Discovery Photo. I am a full-time, full-service photographer. I have been for 30 years now, specialize in everything from legal, corporate, industrial, architectural, do a lot of headshots and crash parties on the weekends. So it's a pretty good gig I got here, and I am looking forward to working with each and every one of you. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Scott. Thanks for being here. We're going to say good morning to Shalom. Good morning, Shalom.
Good morning, friends. Can you hear me?
Oh, loud and clear.
I'm Shalom from Right at Home, and we look to provide the right services at the right time for our clients. My clients typically have some dementia, and they're looking to age in place with dignity. And just in the few neighborhoods that we serve, we're helping to connect them to folks with some real compassion and care. So we've been doing this for years, and my challenge is I'm looking for more caregivers because we have no lack of clients. So that's our challenge right now during the pandemic.
Shalom, can I interrupt before we get to Bitcoin?
Please. Sure.
So what type of, do you do most of the training for somebody? If somebody says, you know what, I'm a good person, I have skills, but I don't know what it takes to be a caregiver?
Right. So in general, my clients tend to be higher, greater healthcare, both physical and cognitive challenges.
Right.
So I typically look for caregivers that have had a number of years of experience in our field. And then we provide them, obviously we do all the background checks, but we provide them with the training and the testing, also all the supplies, the PPE that they need, their taxes, their insurance, their workman's comp, supervision. So we do those things on our end, and they bring to us just a willingness to love our clients.
Sure. Okay.
But in general, we much prioritize experience over, for example, what's written on a certificate. We support them in working with clients with dementia, and you can tell really quick who's burnt out and who is just going to engage them.
Right.
So in general, we're not like a nursing school.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I get it.
But we do like specialized classes all the time. Like we have a client with some catheterization needs, and so we have some specialized training that we're doing for some of our.
That's what
we have another client that has a special kind of lift device to help them to get on and off the commode, and so we're doing training with that piece of equipment just to so we use some technology. My field is changing quickly, and it's really just based on who needs what when, and their needs change also.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely.
I really appreciate your question, Harry, and it's great to see you. We rely on our elder care attorneys to help our clients with all kinds of things like planning and estate planning, and
that with COVID that really picked up. People realize they better get their act together as family and friends are going in the hospital and passing. Unfortunately,
they don't have their documents. They think about a will, but they don't maybe think about a power of attorney or a durable.
Or the POA.
Sure.
Yeah. Right.
Very good. Thank you. Thanks for the question, Harry, and thanks for the updates on what you need and who you're taking care of. Thank you so much.
I had a question for
service.
Ari. I had a question for Ari as well, if I may. He's our printer in the group. I wonder if you could make large print word find books to help some of my clients stay entertained while they're in rehab waiting for discharge.
My mother-in-law loved that, and the dollar store has a bunch of them.
So I'm looking for something like that, Ari. If you wanted to give me a bus.
Oh, we don't do large format. If you're looking for large format, that's Ron Levine.
No, this would be the size that a senior could hold in their hand, but the letters would be bigger in case they have the macular degeneration.
Yeah. We can do that.
Okay.
Right. We want to put our some of our articles on there about not falling down and staying safe in the home.
Oh, sure. Give me a call.
Okay, thank you.
Well, in that same vein, we're going to let Ari tell us about Lasting Impression Direct and this particular question from Salom. Good morning, Ari. Let's hear about
Good
Lasting
morning,
Impression
everybody.
Direct.
Nice to see you all. I'm Ari Teomi. My company is Lasting Impression Direct. We are print. We do almost everything that is ink on paper or toner on paper. We have access to a very high quality, up-to-date mailing list. So we do printing, we do mailing, and we love to serve our customers.
Excellent. Thank you, Ari. Thanks for being here. Thanks for having such a wonderful company, Lasting Impression Direct. And now we're going to move on to Jeff Hexter. You could say good morning and give us 1 minute, Jeff, before you jump into to our discussion for today, Bitcoin, and let me know when you want to, let me do this, okay? All right, you can take the floor, and it's all yours.
Tom, you haven't done your commercial in weeks. Why don't you go next?
What do you do, Tom?
Oh, thank you. My name is Tom Basie. I'm an IT professional, but I go far beyond that. I do a lot of graphic things, but mainly it's going to be computers. I help you with your computer, help you use it, get more productivity. And if your computer's 3, 4, 5 years old, we'll see if we can't update it in a meaningful way so that it becomes as productive as a new machine might be, with solid state drives and adding extra RAM, things like that. Plus, I like running a lean, clean machine. We can all do that. Plus, I can show you how to use certain programs they're high productivity programs that will help you in your business. So whatever has to do with computers, I can probably help you, and I would appreciate it too. Thanks so much, Tom Basie, IT professional. And now we're going to go to another IT professional. That would be Jeff Hexter, and he's going to tell us about himself, and then we'll talk about Bitcoin. Thank you. Thanks, Jeff. Take it away.
Thanks, Tom. I so appreciate what you do, because you do things that I don't want to do. So I'm Jeff Hexter with Always Keep Computing. I work with the professionals working from home and the small offices who suffer with technology challenges. Sometimes their Wi-Fi is whiffy, sometimes their printers aren't printing, sometimes their machines just aren't behaving, and I like to go either remotely or in person to fix it and show them how to not have that happen again. One of the things I do for free is every Wednesday morning I'm at Jack's Deli from 9 to 11 a.m. and I answer computer questions for whoever joins me for breakfast. Tomorrow I'll be there. I might be a few minutes late because I have somebody coming over to my house in the morning to start installing some shelving, and then I'll run over to Jack's and hang out for 2 hours, and if you're there, join me. So I'm going to talk about, well, I entitled my talk today about 5 things to know about crypto, as in cryptocurrency, not cryptography in general. And the reason I called it crypto rather than about Bitcoin is because Bitcoin is, while it is the big thing in cryptocurrency, it's not the only thing in cryptocurrency. Tom, do you want to add the article you found before I actually start talking about this, so people have some background?
Sure. As I'm looking through the internet for news stories and I read some magazines online and things like that, I came upon a story by Oscar Gonzalez from February 23. And it's entitled Bitcoin Falls After Concerns Expressed by Musk, Gates, and Yellen. That would be Elon Musk, Bill Gates, and Janet Yellen, who's the Secretary of the Treasury. And the subtitle is The Crypto Coin Takes a Bit of a Stumble After a Long Rally. So just to get in context here, get our numbers right, Bitcoin reached the milestone of $1 trillion market cap last week. That was from February 23rd. It appears, however, that a tweet from Tesla CEO Elon Musk, some words of caution from Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, and comments from Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates are making its value drop fast. The popular cryptocurrency fell to slightly over $47,000 on Tuesday after breaking the $58,000 mark Sunday afternoon. Musk tweeted Saturday that BTC and ETH do seem high, LOL, referring to Bitcoin and the digital coin Ethereum. Thank you. Musk's tweet was part of a reply to a tweet from Peter Schiff, chief market strategist for brokerage firm Euro Pacific Capital, about the value of Bitcoin versus gold-backed currency. In an interview with Bloomberg, Gates gave his thoughts on Bitcoin and the idea that it can be infected so dramatically by a tweet from Musk. I'm not bullish on Bitcoin, Gates said. If you have less money than Elon, you should probably watch out. Gates also expressed concern about Bitcoin's massive use of energy, similar to a point Yellen made during the Deal Book conference on Monday. She remarked about how the amount of energy used for the transactions is staggering. I don't think that Bitcoin is widely used as a transaction mechanism, she said, according to CNBC. To the extent it is used, I fear it's often for illicit finance. It's an extremely inefficient way of conducting transactions, and the amount of energy that's consumed in processing those transactions is staggering. What they mean is the amount of power it takes from a computer CPU and its video counterpart, GPU. Bitcoin and other crypto coins, such as Dogecoin, require a lot of computing power in order for people to conduct transactions. These heavy computer calculations, also known as mining, need a huge amount of power, more than the country of Argentina. For most of 2020, Bitcoin rallied from its low of just shy of $5,000 in April to jump past 29,000 by the end of the year. And of course, up to 58,000 last Sunday afternoon. So anyway, this is, so the people with real money are talking about this stuff. And I think certainly Bitcoin and all Dogecoin and all the other cryptocurrencies, there only will be more of that. There will never be less. Just like we were talking about computers and computing in the late 80s, early 90s. There will never be less computing or internet. There'll only be more. So this is falling into that same category. And with that said, thanks for your kind attention. And I'll turn it back over to our host for today. That would be Jeff Hexter. Thank you, Jeff.
I'm going to share my slides.
Perfect.
You all see my
Looks good.
5 things to know about crypto.
Yeah.
So first, this is not what I'm going to talk about. I'm not going to tell you if this is something you should be buying yourself. I'm not going to tell you if this is something you should use in your business or personally for payments. And I'm not going to tell you what the price is going to be, when it's going to be there. I don't know the answers to these questions. I can tell you that I have bought, well, actually, I've never bought Bitcoin. I've sold Bitcoin. I've mined Bitcoin, but I've never bought Bitcoin. Or I have transferred one cryptocurrency to another. So I have converted Litecoin to Bitcoin. Those are two different types of cryptocurrencies. And I have paid for virtual items with it. I'm trying to think if I've actually paid for any real items with it, just virtual ones, I believe. And I have converted Bitcoin into real cash. And because I haven't bought it personally, I can't tell you what it cost when I bought it and what it cost. I know what it cost when I sold it. And I was pleased with the increase. But this is not something that holds value the same way land or buildings or
Gold.
cash does. Or what, Tom?
Gold.
Or gold, right? This is not gold. Although interesting history is that it was the ideas of cryptocurrency came from the ideas of digital gold. So why are we talking about it again? Because the price got really high, really fast. And when I did some research while I was creating this, there are listed on the CoinMarketCap website over 4,000 different cryptocurrencies. And I've abbreviated cryptocurrency with CC in all of my slides here. And the market cap of Bitcoin itself, all the coins, the theoretical coins that are outstanding times the value of the coin at the time was 915 billion, and it was up over $1 trillion. And that is still a fraction of what the financial markets are working with, especially in the currency markets. But this is not small change, and it's not been small change for quite some time. The CoinMarketCap actually says about 1.5 trillion when you combine the market value of all of the cryptocurrencies that they're tracking. And it was up more than 1% day over day. And when I was checking, the high point was around 52,000, and it's currently at, I'm looking at on one of my screens, $48,938 for a Bitcoin, and it's fluctuating even as I watch it. And back in 2017, it hit around 20,000, and people were thinking how high that was. Could it go higher? What's going to happen to it? And then the bottom dropped out, as Tom said, it was around 5,000. But the climb from 5,000 up to 50,000 happened very rapidly. I can't tell you exactly why. You can come up with your own reasons. But that's why we're talking about cryptocurrency. So first thing that you need to know about cryptocurrency is we still don't have a good definition of what it is. Is it money? Yes and no. Some people can use it like money. You can buy things with it. You can get paid in it. Is it an asset? Does it produce interest like money in the bank? Is it an asset like real estate, and that you can buy it now, hold it for a long time, and value will go up? Or it has some types of cryptocurrency have some of those features. And is it something else entirely? I'm going to show you at the end of this that actually it may be something we really don't have a good definition for right now because of the features that certain types of cryptocurrency have. We all hear about Bitcoin because it's the one that's the most valuable, and it's the one that's the oldest. And it does behave a lot like a weird kind of money. But there are other currencies that are used in many different ways, and that they don't behave like money like we think about money. And I have a mention here that there's certain types of assets that you can buy and hold. They refer to it as if it's in certain types of accounts, as staking, and they'll generate kind of interest on the cryptocurrency you're holding. And then there are things like Ethereum that Tom mentioned that are used for, it's the payment and the fuel that runs a giant virtual computer. The Ethereum virtual machine that is used for creating a weird thing called a smart contract. We'll talk a bit about that at the end. And other types of cryptocurrencies. It's become really easy to buy. You can create an account at several different places. Binance and Coinbase are two well-known ones where you can buy individual fractions of a cryptocurrency and own it in an account, log in, see the market fluctuations, and buy and sell it, convert it to cash. I have a Coinbase account. I'm not going to tell you anything more than the fact that I have one, and it's as secure as I can make it. We'll talk a bit about that as I get into my slides, but I have sold and I have bought or transferred money into that account, cryptocurrency into that account, and then sold it for cash. And it is possible for me to transfer one type of cryptocurrency and convert it to another from that account. It doesn't cover all 4,000 plus cryptocurrencies, and more are created all the time, but it does deal with the big ones. And maybe you don't realize this. You don't have to buy a single coin. You can buy a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a coin. With Bitcoins, that's I think they're 7 or 8.00000001 Bitcoin is the smallest amount you can buy, and it's I think it's 8 decimal places. I forgot the total number. They call it a Satoshi, named after the pseudonym of the person that invented it. But you don't have to buy a whole coin. You can buy a half a coin. You can buy a quarter of a coin. You can buy usually about 0.005 coin is about what most places will want you to purchase at a time or sell at a time. This is an interesting side effect of the cryptocurrency market. The price of the high-end video cards has skyrocketed well above their the retail price because the miners are buying these cards. The math that gets done in the mining is processed very quickly on the graphics processing units on video cards, much faster than the central processing unit on a computer, and they make specialized hardware for certain types of mining. But these video cards can switch between different types of mining processes based on who's got the better value or conversion rate right now. And while the card might have had a retail value of $1,000, they're buying them up for $1,500 just to get them into their machines to do mining now. And it's really distorted the gaming graphics card market. So when they came out with the next generation of graphics cards, and they came out at a really good price point for a high performance, the miners all started buying them up as soon as they came out, and now you can barely find one in the market. So if you're a gamer, you're suffering a little bit because of this. There are things that may change this in the future, but right now the market kind of sucks for gamers. And the old cards that the miners were using are sometimes ending up on the used market, but they get a little worn out. Cryptocurrency is kept in a virtual wallet, and if you lose your private key for your wallet, you have lost your money. It's the same as if you took money out of your real wallet, cash out of your real wallet, and threw it into the fireplace and burned it up. It's gone forever. You will not get it back. That cryptographically stored information, if the file is lost, if the hard drive that it's on is destroyed, if you lose your key and you don't have a backup of the file and you don't have a backup of your key, it's as good as lost money down the drain. And one of the things I found, somebody estimated that 25% of Bitcoin has been lost somehow, as people lost their keys, or they've lost the files, or they mined or created or bought a whole bunch for pennies way back in the day and never thought about it, and now they can't find it because that data's gone, or they don't have their password anywhere. It's a tragedy for these people because the value is so great right now, but they will not be able to recover that information. The cryptographic capabilities right now for breaking the codes are not going to be able to find that information in any reasonable amount of time. And lastly, there's a lot more to blockchain technology and cryptocurrency than just the coins. You're hearing about the cryptocurrency in the news because the value is so great, but you will also hear about, if you do a little research, these things called non-fungible tokens. something called decentralized finance. And those two technologies are related to the last one, smart contracts. Think of a smart contract as a digital contract that can be self-executing. You can create rules that you and the other party agree upon, such that when a certain event happens, somebody gets paid, or when a certain event doesn't happen, somebody else gets paid, or if it doesn't happen by a certain time, somebody gets paid, or if it does happen, a certain amount gets bonus. These can be articulated in code in such a way that they execute automatically out of your hands. And because that can all be done through a giant provable decentralized computing system, you can create systems for decentralized finance of events or organizations. And these non-fungible token idea is a digital, virtual, provable individual item that nobody else can have. You can't break them into pieces. It's kind of like the description I read was, if you have a concert ticket and you have half a concert ticket, it's worthless. If you have the whole ticket, it has value. But because of smart contracts and non-fungible tokens, it would be possible to create digital artwork, for example, or a real art piece that has a digital component. And because of the smart contract associated with it, when somebody buys the artwork, money is automatically transferred into the account of the artist. If it gets resold, and because the digital token would go with it, another transaction could happen and the artist could get paid again on the resale. So there's some really fascinating ideas that can be associated with this. And I have friends in the music and arts community, and that this is a challenge for them. How do you make a market? How do you control the market? How do you get money out of your market? So keep your eyes open for these terms, smart contracts especially, and the things that are related to them. I just wanted to raise some awareness about these things. And I told you it wasn't going to take me long, Tom. There's a lot more to this. I don't want to get into the math and the details for people, but if you want to, I'm happy to sit down with you and explain more about it. But that's my presentation today, guys.
Okay, I have two questions for you.
All right.
As far as the video cards go, are there any particular brands or particular performance of the video card? Can you dive into that a little bit? I mean, I know that they come in like 1 gigabyte, 2 gigabyte. Some of them are 3D. I remember names from years ago, like Oxygen. They were like $800, for an Oxygen video card.
All right.
Which any common card would probably be more powerful now. But back 10, 15 years ago, it was, breathtaking to see that. So what do you know about the brand or the versions and also the RAM of the GPU?
All right. So the video cards that I'm talking about are the high-end video cards by NVIDIA and AMD. Usually it's the top 2 or 3 levels of their cards. So I'm looking at the Micro Center website right now. And if I want to look at video cards, their most expensive video cards that they're selling, even if this is what they have in stock. Those are special ones for, wow, I'm surprised they don't have anything in stock really.
Now, are they increasing their prices above the what would be the manufacturer suggested retail?
Yes, they're selling well beyond. So the suggested retail price of the RTX 3090 that NVIDIA announced, their top of the line level video card, I think they priced them around $1,500. The price, and it's sold out at Micro Center, lists at $2,269 right now. So well beyond that price. The next one out, which is also sold out, is another brand of the same kind of card for $2,200, $2,199. The 3090 is another one for $2,164. And these are high-end video cards if you can even find them anywhere online. Sometimes they arrive and they get sold out. The mid-range cards, which would be the that just got released, 3060 level. I don't even know if they're probably not even available yet. I haven't shopped them because I knew they weren't going to be available, but even the cards that should be $500 are selling for $700 when they can get them.
Mm-hmm.
The cards that were $400 are selling for $600. So there's this significant percentage markup on all of these cards, and the old cards on the used market are selling at outrageous prices because people want to sell their card and buy the new one, but there's still a market for the next level out, the 2000 series cards for the NVIDIA cards, or the previous generation of AMD video cards. And I can do the same search on here to get an idea what those prices are going for quickly. So the Radeon, that's the 5000. I want the 6000 series. Are they even available? Now it's listing cards. The 6900 is $1,600, but sold out. I mean, they're not available. It literally says 0 in stock for all of the AMD 6000 and 5000 series video cards.
Wow.
They can't get them and keep them because people buy them, and the cryptocurrency miners and a lot of them are in China, are where, you know, much closer to where these things are actually manufactured. They can get them faster, perhaps. Put them into a machine with 10 video cards in it, and but even if they're spending $1,000 on the card, if they're able to mine, if the return on their mining is great enough, they can afford the stuff.
Wow.
Plus they have to pay for electricity. Don't discount that.
You know, the availability reminds me of 5, 6, 8 months ago of trying to get medium to high end webcams.
Oh, right. The demand.
Because of the fact that everybody had to do Zoom, and your onboard webcam, either you don't have one or the one you do have is fuzzy and it looks terrible. And they were sold out. And when they got them in, like the Brio Pro sells for $199. They were at $399 at Micro Center. I was able to get, because I was helping people set up, because their businesses were going online. I bought 3 of them for $350 a piece to set up, and also 19-inch ring lights to set up home studios, because these owners of companies want to look. They want to look, you know, like what I'm doing back here, rather than just, you know, having their kitchen. So I set up 3 high end and 2 more besides my own, and I did a couple of cousins of mine too, because I have the method where 3-point lighting and the 4K camera and stuff like that. Well, anyway, that went on in that industry, and now that we're getting these numbers, 47 to 50,000, it's starting to make sense to go pay whatever you have to for high-end video cards to do mining.
They'll flood the market, hopefully, again at some point when the value falls again.
Yeah.
And these will become more available. But right now, NVIDIA and AMD are riding the wave by selling these cards and making them as fast as they can.
Could some of it have something to do with our relationship with China? Because most of these things are going to be made in, no matter what name is on it, they're going to come from China, the manufacturing. And if they slow down, or they're not shipping, or, you know, that could make the prices go through the roof.
We're in a
waiting forever.
chip shortage right now. I don't know if you've heard about that there's a difficulty sourcing lots of integrated circuits, and it's affecting the auto industry. It's affecting the computer gaming industry. It's affecting everybody that needs processors right now. I haven't been paying much attention to this, but it's hit.
So it's not necessarily China issue.
Yeah. With the demand is far exceeded capacity for production right now.
Yeah.
That will right itself, because that's how the cure for high prices is high prices. The cure
Sure.
for low prices is low prices.
I remember a million years ago when Volkswagen brought out a diesel, and in order to get one, they added $10,000 to the car if you wanted, and they still sold out, you know. But what are you going to do? I mean, you know, they're in business, but somebody that would do that, I'm surprised that Micro Center did that at a $199 video card webcam.
Same prices elsewhere online. If I went to newegg.com, I'm going to find similar pricing, and they're unavailable.
That's a fact. I couldn't find them anywhere until I told the company I bought them from online, if I buy 3, will you give me a break? And he said, yeah, I'll do $350 a piece instead of $399 or whatever, $375.
To go, Tom.
Okay.
Take care,
Thank you, Chris.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Chris is going to get
Jeff, let's get back to defining. I think you had sort of mentioned that you were going to come down to the end of your presentation, sort of trying to define what is Bitcoin.
Okay. Well, I did talk about how it's Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. Some of them are money-like. Some of them are asset-like in that they generate what is the equivalent of interest, or they generate some other feature about them. And some of them behave like Ethereum is a really special thing. It is both how you execute a smart contract, and it is the currency that transfers on a smart contract. But it can also be used in another way. You can make other types of cryptocurrencies on the Ethereum blockchain that have their own blockchain. It's kind of hard to wrap your head around.
Yeah. Well, the reason I ask that question is because it ties into my industry of insurance.
Mm-hmm.
And the question is, if you hold cryptocurrency, is that currency insured in any way? You put money in the bank and you have supposedly FDIC insurance up to a certain amount. You purchase an annuity or have life insurance. There is a guarantee association, which is going to guarantee that value. Now, obviously, if you play the stock market or you're involved in mutual funds, there are no insured guarantees there. So the question is with cryptocurrency, and I had this happen in 2018 when a client of mine was freaking out and wanted to file a claim on his homeowner policy because someone had stolen at that time $60,000 of cryptocurrency.
Oh. Were they able to successfully file a claim?
No, but there has been a successful case in Ohio versus, I've never heard of this insurance company. I went to the Ohio Supreme Court, Wayne Insurance Company, where a guy back in 2017 lost $16,000 that was stolen. I think it's Himmelman versus Wayne, something Himmelman or Kimmelman versus Wayne Insurance. But the question comes down to definition. If you have a homeowner policy, you will find that you have certain things that are insured, cash, coinage, pretty much items that are tangible, that you have limits in your policy. Now, I know that there are companies now that are specifically insuring crypto. I don't know those companies specifically, but I do know that there are some entities that are insuring crypto, not only in the case of it being stolen, but people losing their access to their crypto.
Sure.
So I can only imagine what the cost of that would be.
I'm looking at an article about the case.
Okay.
And it was held that I'm not a lawyer, so
Yeah.
Harry weigh in, but it says that
I'm looking at it too. What it turned on, Mike, was it was the language of the policy, and under the policy, money was not covered, but property losses were. So that the court determined. Now I'm looking at the lower court decision. This is not the Supreme Court decision, so I don't know what happened at. But this was 2018. But the court determined that
Ohio court holds stolen
In what?
cryptocurrency constituted property under homeowners policy.
But that's what I said as a judge in Franklin County.
Oh, okay, that wasn't the Supreme. All right.
You see the Supreme Court decision?
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're
Right.
you're
Anyways,
It hasn't gone-
so the court determined, judge determined it was property, therefore covered by the policy. And the insurer was relying on the fact that a lot of the media reports calls Bitcoin money. It's a terrible argument because I would agree, based on everything I'm seeing, it's property. It's certainly not money. Anyways.
Okay.
So
Again-
the result of that, a lot of insurers now have amended the language in their homeowner contracts to be more specific as to what is considered property.
Good for them.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure, there's no reason you couldn't insure it. I'm sure somebody will write a policy for cryptocurrency, but it's going to, I would assume, cost you a lot of money. Unlike cannabis, where you can't write it because it's not legal at the federal level. There's a difference because crypto is not, it's like any other asset. If somebody wants to insure, like these athletes or celebrities who insure parts of their body, if somebody write the policy, then they'll cover it. But
Again, it has features and functions that are both asset and money, property and money type. Like, it's really not the same thing as either. And
right.
And I mean, if they were holding Bitcoin versus if they were holding Dogecoin, which, is worth 5 cents per coin instead of $50,000 per coin, and went up way up.
Well, it's
increased a lot too.
Because if you had a stock certificate, and that stock certificate was lost or stolen or destroyed in a fire, to a certain limit, you're going to have coverage under your homeowner policy.
Right.
Huh.
Well, if the on my computer, which is what this could be, is lost or stolen, if I tell you that data is worth $1 million, this is data. I mean, this is not the same thing as a physical object. It's not the same thing as money. It's not the same thing as owning land. And it's going to have its own rules associated with it. If my computer is lost, I can get back the hardware, but I may not be able to get back any of the data that's on it unless I had that data backed up. And this is computer data. So is that covered?
Well, I mean, to me, there's some parallels to intellectual property. So if you own if you own the trademark to the name Coca-Cola and that style of bottle, it's intellectual property. It's not the physical asset. And you certainly can license those rights and sell them. They have a value. I mean, it's like anything else. If it has a value, it's an asset. But that doesn't mean it's insurable either, right? I mean, it's only insurable if somebody will write the policy on it. And if somebody does, that's great. And it's only worth what, it's worth whatever somebody's going to pay for it.
We're still in the early days.
But
there's a lot to do.
So yeah, you're right. It's still in the early days. So let's say the government came out tomorrow and say you cannot pay for assets with you cannot pay for services with Bitcoin. We're going to put a list. Now all of a sudden the value of it drops, correct?
In theory,
it has by definition value. It can't do what it did yesterday.
Yes, but it might just increase the value of buying assets with Bitcoin or buying something else with Bitcoin. So we don't know how it will affect things, and maybe that ruling would.
Because I think that's what the government's problem with it is. It is used. It's anonymous and it's used in so many illicit activities. So the more the government gets their hands on it, the more they restrict it. Huh?
You're confusing anonymity with pseudonymity. So it is not anonymous. There's an account number associated with
people.
You can track every single transaction.
There is, I understand that, but it's not a trackable. It's my understanding is if you have your crypto key, the governments can't track it. Governments don't like anything. Our government, anyways, and so do other totalitarian. I'm not saying we're totalitarian. We were whatever, but governments don't like things that they can't track.
That I'm not going to disagree with you.
As they get there, they've got a lot of other things going on, but as they dig into it, they're going to start to restrict it. And if they start to restrict it, it's going to lose value.
Yes, but another currency will gain in value as it becomes the one that is evidently not restrictable, for example. And there are, again, thousands of cryptocurrencies, some of which are designed for anonymity, some of which are designed to not there are cryptocurrencies that are linked to the dollar, for example, that don't change with that the value of the currency is always 1 for 1 with the dollar. There are currencies that combine these things. You could do certain things with smart contracts that affect the effects.
Well, and I think that's I know very little, but I try to pay attention to blockchain. That's where I think that. But you're all, and then you go back to Gates's issue. You got a terrible energy problem with this product, right?
Now, I think that'll correct itself as well.
Yeah, right. Well, how do you think?
Oh, I don't. Just because I don't know how it will correct itself doesn't mean it won't. The fact that we will find, maybe we'll shift one for one to I'm guessing. This is totally no way.
Yeah, no, I'm curious.
We'll shift we'll shut down a blockchain that is using too much energy and shift to one that uses less energy, or we'll design processes to solve the problem that use less energy for the mining purposes.
Right.
Just because I don't know how to solve that problem doesn't mean somebody else isn't already working on that problem. For me,
no, I get it.
The concept of anonymity in cash transactions that we have. If I give you $1, yes, there's a serial number on that dollar, but it's pretty hard to know that I gave you that dollar. And if I exchange it with the coin machine, now I got coins and I buy dollars again somewhere else, I got total hidden exchange.
Hey, Tom, isn't that how the guys made their money in the vending machine business?
Sure, cash is king.
We're moving money around. Cash is king, and there's all kinds of things you can hide when you start moving money. That's what, again, I'll go back to tracking things. And until 30 years ago, banks, and Griff's not here, but now anytime you do a transaction of, I forget if it's $3,000, that you got to fill out a form at the bank. Yeah.
Okay.
So they don't like
The Suspicious Activity Report, SARs.
Yeah. Well, it was funny. The IRS, you talk about, the IRS chief just came out and said he would prefer cannabis businesses have access to banks because when they pay their taxes in cash, it's putting his employees at risk.
Right.
So you're getting more and more federal understanding. It's absolutely crazy that we don't at least give them access.
Everything you do
insurance
with a bank has got to be less than $10,000.
Is it 10 grand? Yeah. I know when you go to the track, if you hit a ticket for more than 3 grand, you got to sign for the IRS.
The remittance market, the ability to send cash overseas or cross-border through cryptocurrency bypasses the Western unions of the world. You can send a fraction of a coin to a relative in another country, and it happens 10 minutes later, they have the money, and then they can instantly sell it for their local currency.
Well, I've seen these Bitcoin ATMs popping up in places too, which is
crazy.
Whatever.
They're all around. I love learning about this stuff. I read books on this stuff. I mine it. I transfer it from one account to another. Yes, a little bit gets lost in the fees associated with it, depending on where I do the transfer. But it became real money again.
Yeah. And it's not often that we can be in on something almost from the ground floor. And as it grows, you could learn as it grows. Those of us old enough, that's how I feel about initially computers. In the mid 80s, late 80s, I saw them go from the size of a house to something you could carry around.
Right.
Right. Computers. And also the internet. I'm of the age where there was no internet for starters. And then there was internet, and there was what was known as the World Wide Web became the graphical interface of the internet. The first thing I ever did on a computer, that I typed in sunnet.se. It was like a blinking cursor on a black screen, like using DOS. And then they responded. It was a bulletin board. The first thing I ever did.
Yeah, right.
And it was thrilling that, oh my God, I'm typing to somebody that's halfway across the world. So this cryptocurrencies and all of this business is the same thing. We're in on the ground floor. Someday, 10, 15, 20, 30 years from now, this will be old hat, and they'll have worked everything out, and there'll be way more ATMs, and you could go buy a car with, probably you can now, if the dealership is large enough, buy a car with cryptocurrency. You could do it with one coin nowadays, at least this week. It's great
We'll see where
stuff.
it all goes. It's yeah, still the Wild West. and
Oh,
we're still
absolutely.
figuring it out.
Absolutely. That was a great presentation, Jeff. We all thank you very much. Absolutely.
Thank you, Jeff. That was
Hope
really
you learned
good.
something about
And we
cryptocurrency.
thank each of us. Thank you, Scott, very much for being here. Thank you, Mike Bentley. Thank you, Scott Morrison, Mike Bentley, Harry Bernstein. Loved seeing
Thank
you. And especially Ari Taomi. We loved having you here today, Ari. It was wonderful. Thank you so much. And again, thank you, Jeff, for a great presentation. And we'll sign off now, and we'll see you. You could stick around after the record, but I'm going to sign off on our YouTube channel, The Network Breakfast. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll talk to you next Tuesday again. Thank you. Bye.